Hey guys, welcome to Every Card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel Part 5. As always, I've got 10 cards to look at in this video, so let's get into it. First up, we've got Lord of D. This is a dark level 4 spellcaster type monster, and its effect is neither player can target dragon monsters on the field with card effects. This card is one of the oldest we've looked at so far, having first been printed 25 years ago, and as such, it has a very basic card effect. Technically, its effect isn't bad, though not being able to target your own dragons can actually reduce the amount of plays available, so this targeting protection is only half decent. The D stands for dragons, and I'm not really sure why it's abbreviated. I think it's because at that time Yu-Gi-Oh! Was played in a lot of playground formats, so maybe it was to avoid confusion, as it's a spellcaster type monster. Loads of other cards from that era have confusing typings though, so I'm really not sure. This is another one which made a lot of appearances in the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime and manga, along with the second card we will look at today, the Flute of Summoning Dragon. This is a normal spell card, and its effect is special summon up to 2 dragon monsters from your hand. Lord of D must be on the field to activate and to resolve this effect. These cards suffer from a similar thing to many other cards from that time, which is needing too many separate parts in your hand. In this case, you would need Lord of D, the Flute of Summoning Dragon, and at least one powerful dragon in your hand already to make the effect worth it. As time has gone on, and as we've seen in newer cards, it's become much easier to special summon Blue Eyes White Dragon without needing to add it to your hand at all. Third up is Vision with Eyes of Blue. This is a continuous spell card which reads, when you activate this card, you can reveal 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon in your hand, special summon 1 monster from your hand. Once per turn, you can target 1 face-up monster you control, return that face-up monster to the hand. Then you can apply the following effect based on the original name of the card returned to the hand. Blue Eyes White Dragon, special summon 1 monster from your hand. Other, special summon 1 Blue Eyes monster from your hand. You can only activate 1 Vision with Eyes of Blue per turn. This card isn't bad, but everything it does can be done more efficiently with other cards in the archetype. An optimal 40 card deck has plenty of ways to summon key monsters from the hand. Another drawback is that it doesn't do anything on its own. If you draw it without a Blue Eyes monster, it's a dead card, so it doesn't really see play. It is worth noting its effects though, as it's the kind of card that could become more powerful if something synergizes well with it in the future. There isn't anything on the radar at this point in time, but you never know. Next, we have Majesty with Eyes of Blue. This quick play spell card reads, send 1 Blue Eyes monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, then target 1 face-up monster on the field. It cannot attack while it is face-up on the field. You can only activate 1 Majesty with Eyes of Blue per turn. This is the first quick play spell that's come up, and generally they have more niche uses than other spells due to the timing in which they can be activated, but this effect isn't particularly powerful for a couple of reasons. First of all, it can only target face-up monsters, meaning there are just generally fewer viable targets, and more importantly, it doesn't negate the all-important monster effects, something the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is built around. This card's saving grace is in its ability to send a Blue Eyes to grave, but it also limits when it can be activated, so mixed thoughts all round. Fifthly is another quick play spell, Rage with Eyes of Blue, which reads, banish this card and as many cards as possible from your hand, field, and graveyard face down, and if you do, special summon up to 3 copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck. You cannot normal or special summon monsters the turn you activate this card, except Blue Eyes White Dragon. On paper, this card can give you an FTK. Blue Eyes White Dragon has 3000 attack, so attack with 3 and you'll win the duel, right? Well, yeah, but there are way easier ways to win that don't involve banishing all of your in-play cards. The thing is, Blue Eyes White Dragon is a normal monster, and as we recently discussed, this game ultimately revolves around card effects. It's also impossible to activate this card without a Blue Eyes White Dragon in deck, and don't even get me started on the fact that you're locked into just summoning Blue Eyes that turn. As an end rarity, it's worth crafting to mess around with, but don't mistake this for a consistently powerful card. I feel like I've been very critical so far this video. Let's move on to a card that I love. Ultimate Fusion is a quick play spell with the following effect. During the main phase, fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon or Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon as material by shuffling the materials mentioned on it from your hand, field, and or graveyard into the deck. Then you can destroy face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of Blue Eyes White Dragon or Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon used from the field as material. You can only activate 1 Ultimate Fusion per turn. Sounds complicated, and it kind of is due to the fact that modern fusion monsters tend to have more vague materials. It isn't run in the top tier Blue Eyes lists, which are more synchro focused, but it is powerful in the fusion builds and can be used to summon cards such as Magia, Tyrant, and Neo Ultimate Dragon. Its power scales relative to the number of Blue Eyes White Dragon or Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragons used in the fusion summon, and it becomes an absolute menace when used during your opponent's main phase. This is definitely the strongest quick play spell of the 3 we've looked at so far, and it's easy to craft as an R rarity. Next up is the ultimate creature of of Destruction. This is a normal trap card, and it reads, target one Blue Eyes monster you control. This turn, that face-up monster is unaffected by card effects except its own. It cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, any monster it battles is destroyed at the end of the damage step. While this card is in your graveyard, if you normal or special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon, you can set this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use this effect of the ultimate creature of destruction once per turn. This is the first of 4 trap cards we're going to look at today, and to be honest, it's probably the most forgettable. Making a monster unaffected and indestructible by battle for a turn is fine, but don't think that it makes your Blue Eyes irremovable. It can be tributed or sent to the graveyard by non-targeting effects, so I don't normally do this, but there's an upcoming card called Forbidden Crown, and it's probably going to be one of the strongest quick play spells ever released once it's in the trading card game and Master Duel, because it protects any monster from most forms of removal. But this kind of goes to show how many effects a card needs to have for this effect to be playable, and as you can see, the ultimate creature of destruction doesn't provide nearly enough by these standards. Its effect to set itself is a redeeming quality, but it's another case where there are better and more consistent cards that do a lot more. 8th, we have the normal trap card, Destined Rivals. This card's effect is, if you control Blue Eyes White Dragon or Dark Magician, negate the effects of face-up monsters your opponent currently controls until the end of this turn. You can only activate 1 Destined Rivals per turn. Another card that leans into the Blue Eyes and Dark Magician archetypes, this trap has a similar effect to that of the classic spell card Dark Ruler No More. Though being a trap, it can be sprung on an opponent as an interruption. This card isn't necessarily a popular choice, but I will mention how much I love the artwork. A lot of these designs have some great depictions of Blue Eyes, and obviously, in this case, Dark Magician. And ultimately, we've got Majesty of the White Dragons, another normal trap card. It reads, show up to 3 of the Blue Eyes White Dragon in your hand, face-up monster zone and or graveyard, then destroy an equal number of cards your opponent controls. You can banish this card from your graveyard, ritual summon 1 ritual monster from your hand by tributing Blue Eyes White Dragons from your hand or field whose total levels equal its level. You can only use each effect of Majesty of the White Dragons once per turn. This card is really powerful, which isn't a huge surprise as it was a relatively recent addition. The fact that you only have to reveal the Blue Eyes White Dragons, and you can do so from so many places, paired with the fact that this card can destroy any of the cards your opponent controls, whether they're face up or face down, without targeting, means this is a very consistent choice. The second effect rarely comes up, but it makes for a nice bonus, with various Blue Eyes cards able to perform different summoning mechanics by banishing themselves from the graveyard. And finally, True Light is a continuous trap card with the following effects. Your opponent cannot target Blue Eyes White Dragon in your monster zone with card effects. If this face-up card is sent from the spell and trap zone to the graveyard, destroy all monsters you control. You can only use the following effect of True Light once per turn. You can activate 1 of these effects. Special summon 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand or graveyard. Set 1 spell trap from your deck that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon with a different name to the cards you control or in the graveyard. This is a key part of the Blue Eyes engine, and the downside of it being a trap card is overcome by the fact that it can be placed face up by the effect of Maiden of White, meaning you can use this effect right away. It provides targeting protection, and it can set other key cards straight from the deck, one of the best ways to search cards out. Of course, it would probably be a bit overpowered if it didn't have the effect which destroys all of your monsters when it's sent to the graveyard, and this weakness makes it a key target if you're playing against Blue Eyes. And that's it for this video, and that's a lot of the Blue Eyes related cards, at least according to Master Duel, now done. But there are enough others that don't come up by default that I would class as part of the archetype, and there are more cards which support Blue Eyes and Dark Magician, which I'll probably cover before moving on to something else. Obviously this is 50 cards done so far out of about 11,000, so this is going to be long, but hopefully the next video will come out pretty soon. I've been doing a few more unboxings recently, so this part took a bit longer than I'd hoped. I think next time I'm going to round up as many cards I can think of that didn't come up when you go on Blue Eyes related cards, and then there are cards that don't have Blue Eyes in the name that still work with it that I will probably do. It's kind of difficult to work out what order to do everything in, but I'm going to stick with the way I've done things so far, basically 10 cards per video. So yeah, if you're still here, thank you very much for watching to the end, and if you've enjoyed this video, please like. If you haven't subscribed yet, then make sure to do that. That would be really appreciated. Join me again for part 6 of every card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel.
Oh no!